This is a collaborative discussion amongst three friends.
You are a bandwagon Swiftie.
Wow.
It's true.
How have you never had a Choco Taco?
I was on a wagon for years.
Taco is.
Do you do MMA? Because you're really wide.
So tell me, what's in your beverage center?
You don't know what the hell you're talking about.
No, my eye twitch isn't bad right now.
Let's talk about the process. How are we going to help you obtain the best home at the best possible price, terms, and conditions that we can? Welcome to episode 24 of Shootin The SHT, Real Banter with Nick and JT, brought to you by Shore and Bank.
Welcome.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm Nick, your co-host, along with this guy over here with the eye twitch.
Hello.
Mr. Jonathan Tatro. JTZ.
What's happening, boys?
And we have Nate in the corner.
Hi.
Is this
No
gonna be
Lauren today.
Is this going to be the last podcast in the old office before we move to the new studio?
I bet we got one more in here.
Okay. Cool.
It's my gut.
All right. Well, John's on a tight timetable. We got to get to a lot of different stuff today. We got some fun things to talk about. We got a great interview that we're going to get to in a little bit. So we're super excited for that. But John, why don't you kick us off with a little intro on a mid-year update? We're recording this on July 2nd.
Yeah.
Getting ready for the holiday weekend. We are through one half of the year. Yeah. Tell me, how you feeling?
Feeling good.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's been a good first half. You know, most days you look back and it's like, oh man, are we ever gonna accomplish anything? Come on, let's go. We have so much to do. But then you had a great post last night, kind of sat back for a few, reflected on the first half. We added 8 agents to the team, 117 closed transactions, families served in the first half. We certainly have some lofty goals for the second half. I saw that you were setting your sights a little short, looking for about 250 at year's end. But
that's not true. If you did the math between what we have closed, what we have pending, then you add 133, that equals 300.
I left out the pending. All right.
Yeah. Algebra was not his thing, apparently.
There are 50 pending. Well, I'm reading it, and I'm like, why is he selling us short and only going for 250? We're hitting 300.
No, absolutely. We got 50 pending.
We are helping
that's
300 families
number.
this year.
That's the missing number. Yep.
But yeah, excited for very big things in the second half.
Should we do 250 plus X equals 300? What is X, John?
So, Nate, what's new with you?
What's new with me?
First of all, last week I had to take he took a calculator out to do like 2 plus 4. I was like, you serious?
That's
right
not
now?
true.
But anyways, Nate, what's up with you, big dog?
Okay, so wait, so are you both bad at math? Or
No, I'm
Nick
actually
is,
good
Nick
at math.
is pretty good at math. I know that much.
It's actually not his strong suit.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Decent at math. I wouldn't say it's
You're
a
just
strong
you're just
suit.
good at so many different things.
He's good at Excel formulas.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good at tech. It's my jam.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. So between the two of you, you
like
know,
quick math. You know, not always my thing.
I'm terrible.
I
at
got you
math.
covered there.
Thanks.
But anyway, Nate Dogg, what is up with you aside from that fire shirt?
Oh yeah, man. Thanks. What's up with me? You know, same old.
Yeah.
A lot of photo shoots, tons and tons of photo shoots. Never-ending photo shoots.
It's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I like how you're outsourcing all the editing, though. I mean, it feels like we're just kind of ramping it up, and you're just taking advantage of it, and we're getting listings out there.
Yeah. I had to put my pride aside a little bit because I don't like to do that. I like to see everything through, but it just became too much volume-wise.
She's doing a good job, though.
She's doing great.
Yeah, great job.
Yep.
So how's your first year, the first half of the year been?
First half of the year, pretty good. Kind of uneventful as far as like in my personal life. I've been kind of just buckling down, you know. We usually go on a trip every year up to Lake George. That's kind of like our vacation spot.
Very
That's
nice.
an easy getaway, you know.
Nice.
But this year, I think we're just going to kind of hang out around here, maybe try and do a couple like day trips. I think we went up to Lenox. That's where I went for my birthday. But yeah, just right now, just kind of getting our financials in order, everything squared away, looking to maybe have a child sometime in the near future.
Breaking news
Very
on the
exciting.
podcast.
Yeah, there's no one's pregnant or anything, but just planning out that kind of thing. So
I thought that was gonna be the
It's
second
where the
big
announcements
announcement.
come.
No, yeah. This is that's what we should do an emergency podcast for in the future.
Ooh, little dig right there.
Yeah. Little pregnancy announcement next time. But don't worry. When I find out, you guys will be the first to know.
I don't think he's serious.
I don't either. The sarcasm is oozing out of Nate Dogg.
Is
over
it
there.
palpable? Yeah. Sorry about that.
So that's okay.
Nick, how you feeling?
I feel good.
Good?
It's been a great first half of the year. I'm very excited about the momentum the team has experienced. We got a lot of fun things going on. We got the new building that we'll be moving to very quickly. not quick enough, but super excited for that. That'll be later on this month. Got a lot going on. Got some travel planned. We got some good stuff going on. So I'm excited. And I love the 4th of July. It is the 2nd, as I mentioned, as of this recording. This certainly probably won't be out before the 4th, but I love the 4th. The 4th of July is just my favorite.
It's a good time.
It's a great weekend. And the weather looks good. So I'm excited. I'm excited to enjoy it.
Absolutely.
Cool.
Well, let's roll. We interviewed Jose Roberto Samano of the Power Real Estate Group out in Orange County, California. I've known Jose for probably 2 or 3 years at this point, and he's certainly a very, very impressive agent, team leader. Does a ton of production, about 500 million last year.
Dialed in, too.
Dialed in. I mean, really, their systems, their training, their tech. I mean, that's probably my biggest takeaway is they're so tech forward, yet also don't lose sight of that personal touch, that human connection. And he was big on that. Tech can support the agents. They can certainly help them, as well as AI and virtual assistants and things along those lines. But it still is the agent's job to cement that relationship. The old school talk of belly to belly, getting in front of them, developing that relationship, and just doing what they do best. So I would say that's probably my biggest takeaway is real estate success is a combination of tech and touch.
Love it.
Yeah.
So without further ado,
do you have a takeaway? Do you have any?
I'm going to save it until after the people can hear.
I thought last time we did takeaways first. That was what we did. Was we kind of gave a little teaser on what we're so excited about.
No. I like that. Sandwich it with takeaways. You give yours first. And
I think the people should get to hear Jose.
Yeah.
So you want to go right into the interview with Jose?
I think we should. Without further ado,
Jose Roberto Samano. Enjoy. Ooh, new soundbite. All right, today's guest is a powerhouse out of Southern California who is proving that system, structure, and a strong mindset can absolutely scale. We are super excited to have Jose Roberto Samano, the team leader behind Power Real Estate Group, a high output operation and a flex partner with Zillow. I believe, Jose, in 2024, your team closed $500 million in production. Yeah, backed by deep operational discipline and team culture. So let's get rolling. Jose, you've been in the business about 20 years, right?
Yes, I've been in, I got into this when I was 18 years old. I actually started as a receptionist, but it was a short kind of job. I was 16 years old. I was putting things in boxes. Back in the day, we had to actually file the files inside of boxes and keep them for like 3 to 5 years. So my job was to tag them, make sure that everything was signed, highlighted whenever we needed a signature, and just to keep us compliant. So that was like my first kind of introduction to real estate.
That's so cool. So what's changed most over the last 20 years, Jose, from when you started to this crazy business that we're in right now?
I mean, the only thing that's really kind of changed is like leveraging tech as much as possible, right? But I think everything's still relatively the same. What I tell people is still prospecting, is still getting in front of clients. Even though we have all this digital technology or virtual technology, we still meet clients in person, and it's all about creating a relationship. And, I'm reading a book right now called Virtual Selling, and it's talking about, having touch points in between appointments through video, just so you become a little bit more human. And, something that I kind of work on quite a bit. I actually send a lot of video, just so I could, again, use my body language, have tonality, and people kind of resonate with that a little bit more.
Absolutely. I know when we took on the project really of just using video more often, even just a lead follow-up, it made such a difference. And I know you're absolutely slaying it in that area. So that is awesome. Awesome to hear. I know we're going to dive in deeper on some of those kind of things. I know I got to meet Jose as part of the Showing Time Plus Agent Advisory Board and now the Zillow Agent Advisory Board, and just absolutely love conversations with Jose. He does so many things that are different, things outside the box. So I'm super pumped to jump into those.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm all, pretty much I'm available, whatever you ask. I'm an open book. I always like to kind of help agents. And, I think that's one of the things that has allowed us to kind of grow quite a bit.
That's awesome. Jose, to do that much production, I'd imagine you have to have some systems and processes that are absolutely dialed in. Can you tell us about some of that?
Yeah, I mean, there's always stuff that we need to tweak, right? Like everything that you build, there's always some sort of management that you need to do to it. You're adding more gears to the gearbox, right? And so there's always something breaking. There's always something that you have to kind of improve on. And it's just, I just like to take it one step at a time. But essentially, it's ensuring that depending on the quality of lead, whether it's a live connection or a an inbox lead, what we call it. So it's somebody filling out a form and then we're getting their contact information. It's creating all of your like what the user experience is going to be for the client, right? And so, typically what we do is we like to create an initial user experience. So that welcome email, welcome text, thank you so much. Someone on our team is going to reach out to you. If it's a live connection lead, then we kind of let the agent kind of dictate the pace on that, right? Because it's going to be somebody that they just spoke to. So we kind of let them kind of do their thing. But then we move on to, we normally kind of put those leads into one of our ISA ponds if it's a contact form, right? So, usually we categorize leads as live connections or, a somebody inputting the information or an email lead, I guess you could call it, right? And whenever it's an email lead or a Facebook lead, Instagram lead, YouTube lead, pretty much anything that isn't a live connection, we put it in a pond that all of our ISAs kind of belong to, and then their job is to kind of comb through those leads, call them, try to get somebody either on the phone or on a live connection, so that way we can reroute back to our team and let the agents just stay kind of in front of clients rather than prospecting a lot of leads that take quite a bit of calling and texting to get in front of. So we just like to have them stay focused on transacting, prospecting, and training, really.
Where the highest and best use of time is, right? I mean, it makes all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I mean, for a long time, this concept was, considered like, oh, that's a lazy agent. But to me, it's like your brokerage is responsible to try and help people produce more. I mean, that's how we make money, right? By agents closing transactions. So, just kind of really started thinking about that and really focusing on how do I, get somebody from maybe two to, maybe one or two transactions per month to get them to maybe like a three or four, driving a pipeline. I came from the lending background. And so for me, pipeline was everything, right? And when I got into real estate, it was always this like roller coaster of transactions. And so now with tech, with virtual assistants and things like that, we're able to, drive a little bit more of a pipeline. And I like to tell my agents, focus on opening escrows, right? I know for a long time people, used to tell me, Jose, it's not about opening them, it's about closing them. But I'm like, you got to open them to close them.
Exactly. It's so funny.
Yep.
We used to actually have what we call a big board in our office when JT and I first started the team back in 2016. We had this massive whiteboard with all our pending transactions. And I used to get excited about taking them off the board because that meant closings. JT would get more excited about getting them up on the board. And it was always that internal struggle for sure. So,
Yep.
I just feel like, you put enough on the board, they're going to close.
Exactly. I love it. So you mentioned a couple different things, Jose, so far. VAs, ISAs, your agents. What's your current team structure kind of look like?
Essentially, we just, we have a team. We like to call it either our marketing team or performance team, depending on how much accountability you want. Our performance team is going to be a highly accountable team. You're going to be, pretty much every single lead is going to be getting scrubbed. We have a pipeline manager, what we call them a scrubber. Essentially, they're looking at every single lead that's coming in, and if it's not moving anywhere, they're going to remove the lead and send it back into rotation. Right. So the agent's job is to pretty much update the lead as soon as they get the lead. If we see that maybe they're struggling to get in touch with the lead, then we'll go ahead and help them out by resurfacing that lead to another agent. And, it's a team effort. Right. And so one of the things I like to tell people is, today might be you, but tomorrow you might get that lead back from another agent. So it's just about staying in front of the leads and making sure that we're servicing every single opportunity, to its highest potential, because every single customer that's coming in, we're just trying to get in front of them. We have action plans and we have, text messaging campaigns. If we can't get in touch with the lead, that's also kind of working on the back end. And so that's, it's all team effort.
That's awesome. Can you walk us through one system you've built in-house that you would consider to be an absolute game changer?
Like a system. I mean, there's a few. I think our calling campaigns and texting campaigns and email campaigns at the beginning of the process is, we're just trying to mimic what like Zillow and all these Realtor.com leads, just trying to stay in front of the client. So I guess that would be one, right? The other one would be the live connections. So through follow-up bots, you're able to create inboxes and you can have your virtual assistants call through there. And eventually, once they get somebody on the phone, they can transfer that lead and it'll round robin to everyone. So that's us kind of like on a small scale trying to recreate that live connection feel, just because whenever you transfer a lead, there's always a drop off. Whenever I like to say that there's a handoff and then there's a toss. And so most of us just like toss a lead to someone and say, hey, call them at this time. But you always kind of lose a lot of appointments or communication with that. So we're trying to cement the relationship by making a nice little intro. So I would say that would be like one thing. The other thing is we created a video editing department here in our office. So it's something that we do. A lot of our agents are super young and they love to be on social. So again, just going with the mindset of like, I don't want my agents editing necessarily. I don't want them to be on Canva. If I could help that, I want to be able to solve for that and just kind of, again, get them in front of clients, get them in front of people. Some of them are social media stars. And so we try to help out with, just creating crisp, editing for them so they could, just keep expanding on their business.
That's cool. So cool. What do you think is working right now best on social for these young agents, Jose? I mean, I know when I was out with you in California recently, you had your Osmo Pocket out and just kind of constantly documenting your day. So like, what is it that's working? What are you seeing that's really producing results? Not just views, but actual real live buyers and sellers who want to work with you guys.
Well, I mean, I have a few friends of mine that do the buyer tour, kind of thing, right? And then so they go to properties that are really nice. They put some nice music. They have a call to action. So essentially, what I like to say is like what Zillow does, right? So Zillow shows off homes. Hey, do you want to tour it? That just kind of works. People want to see properties, and so if you have a nice home, looking home, you have a great price point or anything like along those lines, then you're going to get quite a bit of activity. So that's like one thing. The other thing is new construction. I see a lot of people doing new construction, and that works really well for them. Those are, I would say, the two things that really works well for people. At least the ones that I see that are crushing it. I mean, one of my friends gets like 300 to 500 new customers every single month just through social media.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I know. I'm trying to be famous like him. I'm like, dude, please help the algorithm get me on going, but just one of those things that it takes time and you got to just keep going after it and just communicating with your audience, refining your audience, making sure that you're communicating to them and what's important to them.
Cool. How many agents do you have on the team right now? Is that?
Right now, I would say like 125 maybe.
Wow.
We just went through essentially, it costs us about $150 per agent per seat. And so, we're taking a look at that. We're looking at, hey, does it make sense for you to be on our performance team? If you're not taking advantage of like qualifying and transacting, then this may not be the team like the accountability that you need. You might want to be like maybe helping us with open houses or maybe kind of doing your sphere. Some agents, they get into this business because they want freedom of time. And so, we try to give them that opportunity. But I just feel like the industry is moving to more of a professional kind of standard. And I mean that with all due respect. I just think people need to treat it like a real job and get after it. I mean, I've been here since 6:30 in the morning trying to, crank out calls and just being told no a bunch of times. I think I've only gotten one yes today. So, that's part of it.
Every no leads to a yes, right?
I mean, I always tell people you got to get your nose out. So you got to get your
There you
nose.
go.
You have an opportunity to know, so you can have an opportunity to grow. So, it's just part of it.
That's cool. I kind of
I
sent to
love it.
know a next question that I had for you. So I know on the forum when we kind of booked you for the podcast, you called out team building and mental health as two of your big passions.
Yeah.
So what are you doing to kind of create a healthy culture, maintaining accountability and high performance? Like, what does that look like for you guys?
Well, I mean, we try to just be really excited about what we're doing, celebrate each other's wins. We try to keep a core team of people that come in here to the office quite often, and then we're always just kind of bigging each other up, covering for each other. The whole thing is just being a team and having a team effort mentality. And I think it really kind of resonates with our team, and we're a younger team, so most of the people on our team are under 30. Which I don't know if that's a thing or not, but like, it just seems to kind of gel really well together and they like to hang out, they like to have fun and, they're youngsters, so they make mistakes and, our job is to maybe kind of guide them in the right direction, let them know about the opportunity they have up front. And, maybe we didn't have that same opportunity when we were their age. And so just trying to guide them in the right direction, but just trying to keep it fun, exciting, get hype about whatever little deal or stage you move down the line. I'm big on that kind of stuff. I get really excited about any sort of little win.
Love it. So Jose, this is a business that, especially newer agents, the business can just chew you up and spit you out. So
Yeah.
how do you protect that mindset and the mental health with a team doing the volume that you're doing?
Like with newer agents, what I
Yeah.
like to tell the new agents is not to focus on the home run, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we give the baseball analogy, I like to say, man, you just want to get an at bat, and you want to just make contact. If you could get to first base, great. If you could steal second, then even better, right? But don't rush it. Just take your time. I like to say, first base is that appointment that you set for, maybe sending them some properties. Second base is maybe, getting in front of them, getting them, either pre-approved or maybe getting them to show some homes, right? And then third base would be like submitting offers, right? And then so I just tell people, like, take your time, let the game come to you. And the whole point of this is to get people on base. Eventually they're going to score runs. But if you kind of take that approach of, not being too aggressive, understanding like their timeline before you go for a close, just little things like that can really kind of help agents, because I feel a lot of agents don't, like, a lot of times they kind of shoot their shot a little too early. They haven't gotten enough information about, so they can create like a journey for the client. And it's all about listening and creating a journey for the client that makes sense to them.
Yeah, you got to be there when they're ready to transact, and that might not be right now. It could be 6 months from now, 6 years from now, whatever that might be. So being top of mind when they're ready, that's the most important thing in my opinion. So I was actually checking out your Zillow profile earlier today, and super, super impressive. What do you have, like 1,300 reviews on there? I mean, crazy.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
that,
we have 700 on Google, which I'm kind of more proud of, because it's a little harder on, not too many agencies focus on Google that much, but
yeah.
yeah, we hyper focused on Google. We create contests for the agents to get us more Google reviews, because more Google reviews equals more. Believe it or not, sellers or buyers that are just saying, "Hey, you know what? It looks like you're the best agency in the area. Could you help me out?" And so we're still trying to optimize that, get a little bit better at it. Just to just perform at a higher level on that end. But the leads that we get from Google calls, I mean, they're amazing.
I'm with
What
you. I
kind
think
of
our Go ahead, John.
what kind of challenges really drive your agents?
Um, right now, because they're just newer in the industry, it's that learning curve, right?
Mm-hmm.
For the most part, like our core team of like 40 to 50 people, they're just like crushing it, right? Like our top 15 people are probably doing, just constantly having 4 to 5, transactions in their pipeline at all times. I mean, our top 10 people, they're probably doing 7 or 8, maybe a
Mm-hmm.
little bit more. But they've graduated to having a virtual assistant that works solely on their pipeline, that's creating and generating appointments for them constantly, whether if it's open house leads or just from our pond, just calling everything that they can kind of get in front of that's interested in having a real estate conversation. That's kind of where it all starts. And I think a lot of times agents kind of block their blessing because they want to overqualify a lead, before meeting them or anything like that. And I just kind of tell my agents, you should aim for the review and the referral, not for the transaction. And essentially, what it means is, if you've done enough of a good job to earn a review or a referral, the transaction will come. And so if you focus on that, then you probably will get the referral. So 1 out of every 3 Zillow leads, I tell people 1 out of every 5 should result in a referral if you're doing the right thing and asking for it.
That's so
Great.
true. What's Orange County like? What's the average price point that you guys are selling? I know when I looked at your Zillow profile, I was kind of surprised. I was expecting to see, the
Hi.
higher price points. So what does that look like for you guys, and how do agents break into those higher price points on your team?
Yeah, I mean, so how can I say? We covered a very, very large area.
Yeah.
So there's a few different counties in Southern California. So we covered LA County, Riverside County, and Orange County. And now we cover, pretty much the, how can you say this? The Antelope Valley area, which is also a lower price point than LA, right? So, you kind of get a little bit of that. Some of the newer agents tend to do some of the lower price points just by inertia. It just
Yeah.
happens that they tend to do that. It's not like something that we filter or anything like that. Obviously, if it's somebody that's bought a home before, they're going to want somebody more experienced. They're going to be able to hear it. And so, like now we've segmented our Zillow profile into three different areas, and then so it's a little easier to control the price point. But in Orange County, I would say average is like around 900 and something thousand,
Okay. So
at least
cool.
for us.
I know when I was first coming into the business, it was kind of passed down to me and taught to me to focus more on the client relationship versus the actual sales price. Whether that's a $50,000 mobile home or a $2 million property, which is super high end in our area, it's like if you treat that client right, the most important thing is you mentioned is getting that review, getting that referral, building that relationship, and having a I'm gonna date myself here, but a Rolodex full of happy, satisfied past clients. Like that's the most important thing a new agent can accrue is just having that database of people who know you, like you, and trust you when it comes to real estate.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, I would agree on that. I mean, it's just, most of my, I mean, I still get calls today from people that I've met and talked to. I think the other day an appointment, a buyer's appointment from a lady that I presented to 8 years ago, and she somehow found me on online, right? And she was like, "Yeah, I still get your emails, and then I looked you up, and I decided to work with you. I was working with three other agents, and it wasn't really working out." And so, I mean, you just kind of get people like that.
yeah.
2 days ago, I got another client, a seller, that's looking to get rid of a property that they inherited out in Moreno Valley. And it's a $900,000 home. He wanted me to just give him an idea of what he could do. Does it make sense for him to sell it cash, or does it make more sense for him to rehab the property and actually put it on the market? And so we just kind of gave him a little bit of a scope of what it could take to, what he could sell his property for.
It's awesome. How do you follow up with somebody long term? Like I know I had one this past weekend, similar situation. I actually had a listing in their neighborhood back in like 2016. They came to look at it. It was a ranch. They're in a colonial. They're aging, and they didn't pull the trigger on that listing back then. But I've been having them on drip campaigns, nurture campaigns for the last 90 years or so. And I had a listing appointment. Their house value has doubled since the first time I met them. Just a completely different scenario. But what are some of the best tips you have for like a long-term nurture campaign? How to provide value over that time period?
Well, I mean, for us, we utilize quite a bit of systems, right? So you have like Fellow. We use Real Scout, which sends them properties that are selling around the area. Fellow sending them cash offer drips, home valuation drips. How you get to know the value of your home. Community drips, right? So there's that. But the main thing that we kind of focus on is we kind of let our virtual assistant team help us out with that. And then so once one of our top agents, he currently has 10 deals under contract, listed, or pending, but he only has 93 leads in his system, right? And that's, I mean, extremely efficient, right? So I think he only has like 10 nurture leads, and the rest are either spoke with customer or hire. And so what we tell people is focus on the people that you've spoken to before. Like instead of starting all over again, calling the pond or expireds or things like that, focus on the people that you've spoken to before, people that you've actually made a real connection, and try to drive them down the pipe. And if it's not something that they're going to be able to do now, then we just tell them, hey, utilize our nurturing team to kind of be able to focus on them, because what happens is there's a lot of triggers that happen through all of these automations and activities that the client is doing, and sometimes you as an agent, you just don't have time, or if you have too many leads, they kind of get lost in the weeds and you don't know what's going on. So we just have a super hyper focused team that's calling those leads, trying to nurture them. Now if they're your personal transactions, typically we tell you to touch base with them. So we created a I like to say future client list in your follow-up boss. Instead of past clients, I like to call them future clients.
Like
Um,
that.
yeah, I just words really create worlds. So it's important to learn how to like phrase things, right? Like I don't know, I'm big on that kind of stuff. So it really kind of it just touches them every 3 months. We tell them to check in, but we always kind of encourage people if they're closing a lot of deals. We encourage them to get a virtual assistant, executive assistant that's helping them, follow up, touch base, make sure that they're keeping their eye out for any sort of request or any sort of hand raisers, and just utilizing the systems to do that.
Now, Jose, you actually started a VA company yourself, right? Sidekick?
Yeah, my partner did. So my partner Jeff from McGonigal,
Yeah.
he's a beast, and so he started a virtual assistant company, and I kind of piggybacked off of it, and I've never really worked well with virtual assistants. Like I always thought it was their fault. But I soon found out that it was usually my fault. And it's because, a lot of times agents don't spend the time to train and develop that virtual assistant. So I would always recommend to anyone who's bringing on a virtual assistant the first 30 days, at least spend to an hour to an hour and a half every single day. I know it seems like a waste of time sometimes, especially if you're going fast paced, but over time, it'll pay itself in dividends.
Yeah, we've had a few VAs, and we're actually onboarding our first sidekick this afternoon, so super excited for that.
Awesome.
But yeah, I would agree with you wholeheartedly. Bringing on a VA is critical to train them, have written documentation, SOPs, have everything in place so that they know exactly what you're looking for, and they're going to follow it to a T.
Yeah.
So that we found that as our experience as well. Is you got to have the training in place, you got to spend the time, and it's going to reward you in spades going forward.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, we've had some in the past that it was just didn't work. We decided pretty quickly, and then through reflection, it was like that was our fault. We really didn't take the time to train them. And
Yeah.
others who have had the proper training, they're doing awesome for years.
Yeah.
Jose,
I
you
mean,
mentioned your partner. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
yeah, I just always seem like I'm like, why does Jeff always get the good VAs? And then I'm like, okay, well, it's not. It's not the VA. It's Jeff that's taking the time to actually help them out and guide them in the right direction.
That's so cool. Now, do you and Jeff operate on EOS? Are you visionary, he's integrator? Is that kind of what you guys are doing, or how's that work out?
Yeah, we sort of like kind of run that fine line because he's also very creative with the way that he approaches things. But I would just say like for me, like I'm naturally just always kind of thinking outside the box. I've been in the business a long time, so I can recognize patterns pretty quickly. I feel like I have a pretty good pulse on kind of where everything is going. And, I started when we were still in the Thomas Guide, right? And we went from that to the computer, and then from that to like Zillow, and then social media, and then now we're in AI. And, I feel like I've progressed along all of those different hurdles, right? And then so like today, I mean, I use Gemini AI, which is I feel like it's the best AI for agents, just because it includes your Google Workspace, so you're able to, read into your transcripts of any call that's recorded. You're able to schedule appointments through it, and I mean, it's just Google, So I just think, I trust Google.
Speaking of AI,
Yeah.
Jose, what are some of the coolest ways you guys are utilizing AI in your high performing team right now?
I mean, we have a bot that we created called Broker Bot, and essentially what it does is it helps respond to a lot of the questions that an agent would have. So it's pretty much a RAG model. So we fed it a certain amount of like a knowledge base of things that it should pull through from instead of just pulling from the internet. And then so it's read every single document, it understands it. And so our CTO, shout out to Ozzy. He was kind enough to kind of put that together for us, and then we've added a few other things to it. And I mean, the agents love it because they get a immediate response. I kind of say it's better than the broker, which is me.
Does that live in Slack, or like where's that broker bot live?
Correct. Yeah, it lives in our Slack. So, people are just able to kind of chat with it, talk to it. It gives them suggestions on how to approach a certain situation. So I think it's pretty dope.
That's cool. I
Yeah.
know one of the first things you told me about too, not AI related, but was making an offer. You had like a rider on your signs, like make an offer right away, like because obviously you see that on all these online websites and whatnot. You guys still utilizing that, or what's that look like nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, we're still utilizing it. Just to be honest, I think that most people still prefer to text.
Right.
And so, it's kind of like one of those wonky things. People don't like to put a QR code. But, when I talk to clients and I meet them in person, I kind of go fast. And, it's one of those things that allowed me to do really well on Zillow. When the client was like, hey, you know what, I love this house. Cool. I mean, like, why don't we get the conversation started with the seller? How much of down payment are you comfortable with? And I would first sign the offer, but not necessarily submit the offer, right? And so I would kind of get the client used to, just going over the documents, going over what they're signing. Most people didn't even know what they're signing here. A contract here in California is like 20 some pages. And so a lot of times I would talk to people and it's like, has anybody gone over the contract with you? And they were like, no. And I was like, oh, so you've been signing your life away this whole time? So let me just show you how we're going to protect you, how we're going to leverage this, and what kind of strategy we're going to be utilizing to get your offer accepted and protect you throughout this transaction. And so it would just give me the time to kind of go through that process. And once that was done, Then I would ask, hey, you know what? Now it's time to submit your offer. Do you have a copy of your pre-approval proof of funds? That way I could kind of get a complete package over to the seller. And at that point, it would be one of two things. No, I don't. I need to get pre-approved ASAP, or let me run home and let me get a copy of it. So, it just moves people a lot faster down the line.
That's awesome.
Strategy sessions still work, that's for sure.
Yeah. I mean, that's how you build rapport. You build a little bit more trust. You're explaining the process to them. Transparency is key in today's market. So the more transparent you can be, the more knowledge you could give the client to be able to make the best decision possible for themselves. I think you're gonna come up on top.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
you're running a high volume flex team as well. What has been the key to making that model work for you?
With Zillow Flex, it's again, it's a lot of assistance, helping out the agents stay in front of leads. Whatever's not working, hey, throw it in the pond. We'll help you out with it. We'll get in touch with it, and then we'll just shoot it right back. Training every single day. We train Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, 9, 10 a.m., 11 a.m. We go over buyer contracts, objections, how to present. I mean, we're always just kind of recycling the material, and just trying to give people an edge. So whatever that could be, whether it's, I tell people like most agents kind of just wing it. Like every single time they meet somebody, it's always a different conversation. I have a talking track. I utilize my talking tracks every single time. I tell people if you hear me have 100 conversations, 95% of them are going to sound the same.
It's funny. I know when I'm delivering a purchase and sales agreement or a listing presentation, I tell the same jokes over and over again without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
They just flow out, and I'm like, that's cringy to me, but it's the first time they hear it, and they usually get a little chuckle. So
Yeah, no, it's part of my comedy show.
Jose, I loved your baseball analogy earlier too, and I was thinking of flex leads as you were saying that. And go for the singles. You're going to convert a lot more flex leads if you go for a single and then a double and just, play ball as opposed to sitting back and just waiting for those rare home runs. So I thought that was a great analogy.
Yeah, I think a lot of times people swing for the fences, and that's where they strike out. So you got to just let the game come to you. I like to tell people you got to just wait for the right opportunity, for you to press on or back off. And so it's really kind of important for you to be paying attention to what they're saying, how they're saying it. And I would say the main thing for flex is, if you got an appointment, that's great, but you need to get multiple appointments on the first appointment. And that was one of the things that was key for me when I was on Flex, because I was also on Flex. I've been on Zillow since 2013, October of 2013. So I
Yeah.
kind of learned, just to learn when to press, when not to press. Make sure that I was showing multiple appointments every single time. Usually I would bring, 3 to 5, but I always asked for permission. That was my thing. I just didn't bring them along. I always was big on, like, I wanted to, be courteous of your time, and I would say, you know what, is it okay if I were to bring similar properties? That way you can compare and contrast, and you can get a better feel for the neighborhood. I just found that 80% of the time people were like, yeah, I'm interested in knowing what the neighborhood is like, what other homes are for sale. And so that allowed me to spend more time with the clients on the initial appointment. And so, the more homes you show, the more offers you make. It's just part of the game.
love it.
Absolutely.
Do you feel like it's an ideal number of flex leads that any particular agent can or should be able to handle at a time? I know the number of connections in the capacity will vary upon agent, but have you found like a sweet spot that you think works for most?
I would say 10 to 15 leads per month is a pretty good number. Some agents can handle 20. It just really kind of depends on them. And then from there, just in your pipeline, I feel like once you get like over 250 leads, I mean, ideally you want to be below 150, but I feel like once you get above 250, you just don't have enough time to, spend quality time with every single, especially because it's so fast paced. I tell people like, most of these leads are going to transact. They're just going to transact without you. And so, you got to kind of make sure that you stay on them. If you grab hold of them, you got to make sure that you set the next appointment, that you're setting the expectation correctly. My rule of thumb is anything less than a month needs a time and date. And I like to, in the task section, I like to make sure that I create some sort of context. So when I call back, I know exactly kind of where I left off, and then I have to figure out kind of where I'm at.
Cool. So do you work off a task or smart lists?
Both.
Both, okay.
Yeah, yeah. I
Cool.
mean, if somebody tells me at a certain time, then I'm calling them at that
Task.
time.
Yep.
Yeah, but if I'm just calling through my database, we actually created a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so that's kind of how our daily flow goes. I kind of recreated it based on my day when I was a loan processor, and it was just how do I get through my day, taking care of the most actionable things, and I actually kind of worked it. I mean, some people kind of work it the other way, but I like to take care of anything that I have in escrow right away in the morning. I like to be the one that's dictating the pace. From there, I just go into my submitting offers. I take time to go through them. Usually at that time, I'm not having to cover any fires or anything like that. I'm usually kind of like cool to chill. And so it just allows me to kind of stay focused. So we just kind of go down the pipeline backwards almost.
Cool.
So till we get to spoke with customer, then we go into lead stage.
Nice. Now, it sounds like you're
Awesome.
clearly still in production, right? I mean, you're not just running the team every day?
Well, I give all my deals away.
Okay.
If I get, I mean, I have conversations with people about real estate and doing all of that kind of stuff. And typically, I'll set the appointment, and one of our top agents in the office will take care of one of these leads. Depending on the lead, sometimes I'll give it to a newer agent, depending on the follow up that you need to do. Obviously, we want to capitalize on every single lead, and so people who are spending the time to train and develop and showing up every single day, they deserve it. They've earned it. So we try to give those type of leads to those agents. But I just tell people just show up every single day and knock it out of the park, and then you'll have the opportunity as well.
Cool.
You're like an ISA. Do you just love the adrenaline and the chase?
Dude, I really feel like I do. Um, but right now I'm making recruiting calls, so that's a little bit different.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed, having a great conversation with someone and, kind of getting them to an appointment set. It's just been my natural ability. And so, I just really, I'm a talker, man. So I just come up with whatever, and I watch a lot of food channel stuff, a lot of travel channel stuff. So it really helps me relate to a ton of people, which in Southern California, I mean, it's pretty eclectic.
That's
Sure.
great.
Let's talk about recruiting, Jose. So you guys obviously have grown quite a bit, I would imagine. What's working for you from a recruiting standpoint these days?
Um, culture, training, people want leads. So just try to focus. So people want support, man. Like, so it's like, what are you going to do to help me, basically succeed in this business? If you're a new agent, we feel confident that we could get you into an escrow in 60, 90 days, as long as you follow the blueprint. Follow the play, run the play. Don't go into another direction, because I might just, shoot you for a touchdown and you're over here running a slant, right? And so, it was supposed to be a go route, right? And then so that happens quite a bit. Agents will miss the opportunity because they're just trying to do it their way, or they heard somebody on YouTube. And I'm like, look, dude, we've closed quite a bit of transactions. This is our play. This is the play that works. Just run this play until you get a win. This is going to get you, which is typically open houses and picking up Zillow leads and calling the pond, right? And the reason why calling the pond is super crucial is because it allows you to practice your talking tracks. It allows you to practice, your cadence, what you're supposed to say. You could hear tonality. And it allows you to get all your no's out rather quickly. I'm big on that. I just tell people, look, you want to fall forward as many times as possible. When you learn how to ride a bike, I'm pretty sure you fell a few times. So this is the same thing. You're not gonna learn any other way.
You got to take your lumps, right? I mean, that's how you get better.
It's part of the process. It's part of the process.
Cool. So when we spoke to you, we were talking about your YouTube channel. What was it called? Hot Deals, or like what? Can you tell us about that?
Well, it's my name, but yes, I created a show called Hot Deals, and it's a pun on the Hot Wings show.
Yeah.
And so we hot wings, and we ask each other questions about the real estate market. So it's Hot Deals and even hotter real estate topics. And so I just get to know some of the agents here in our office. So far I have 3 episodes out. It's supposed to be a 10 episode series. So we're going to work on the next episodes, just trying to figure out a few different guests that I want to kind of bring on. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about that. People seem to enjoy it. So, we're going to keep plugging along.
That's cool.
That's
I love
awesome.
hot wings. So if I'm ever in Orange County again, if you want to we can just chop it up the 2 of us if you want to.
Dude, I have like 13 sauces. There's only 10 in the box, but I added a few more just so we can keep it spicy,
Wow. So a lot of agents resist content creation. How do you help get agents into it? You mentioned you have a video editing department. What does that look like with your team?
I mean, I tell people, look, you're not gonna look good. You gotta be okay with looking the way you look and not being so, just, I guess aware of like every single little thing. I just like to tell people like I'm okay with being ugly. My wife likes ugly, so I'm cool with that. And so like I just try to be myself. Whether I try to be authentic, right? So that's
Yep.
pretty much what it is. And if I mess up in the video sometimes, and I messed up in the video, at least it's not AI, right? Because that's looking for perfection, and I don't know. I'm just not big on that. I'm big on being yourself and just um, really kind of representing kind of what you're about, and just being vulnerable, right? I think it's important.
So cool.
Absolutely.
Jose, is there like one marketing move that you can think of that you were surprised with how well it worked and really pushed the needle on your business?
Mm, One marketing move that really pushed it. I mean, obviously Zillow. That's a game changer right there in of itself. The other ones was creating Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube leads. So it was just about coming up with the process that allowed us to funnel and filter a large amount of leads, because you're gonna have to scrub through quite a bit. So it's just creating the filters to be able to help you kind of scrub through all of the data that's coming in, that's getting the touch points and all of that. But I would say just generating our own leads is super crucial in today's market. I feel like we're competing against big corporations, right? They're trying to get in front of your client more and more and more and more and they just have bigger marketing budgets and bigger marketing teams, and they just have a lot of know-how. And so if you're not in front of your client, one of these big players is going to get in front of them, and sometimes they don't send them back to you, right? They're sending them back to somebody else that's in their pipeline or somebody that they're working closely with. So I just tell the agents, your competition is not necessarily agents. I would say your competition is mainly some of the bigger corporations that are getting in front of your client, and they just have more touch points, more calling, more emails, more retargeting, more social, and so you just got to kind of stay in front of your client, and again, just be you and create an amazing experience. And I like to have fun.
Yeah, those big corporations, I mean,
Absolutely.
they provide this very this experience that has like little to no friction. It just works. So I mean, I think we constantly need to be pushing ourselves to provide something similar. So
Right.
I totally agree with you there. And you mentioned Instagram and Facebook. So what's working for you guys on those platforms these days? Is it lead magnets? Is it property boosted ads? Is it retargeting? What are you doing there to generate leads on those platforms these days?
I mean, it just I would say would be just lead magnets, right? And then so just having a valid proposition, whether it's like receive a cash offer, CMA leads still kind of work. You just have to kind of filter through them. I would say open house. Hey, we're having an open house. Would you like to, get some insight before the open house thing type of thing? Hey, property tours. Hey, do you want to schedule a property tour for this home? Do you want to know the value of this property? Like little things like that are the things that, I mean, any way that you can get somebody that's wanting to talk about real estate. And then from there, it's just what kind of talking track are you going to have, right? Like what way are you going to approach this lead? And I think it's super crucial understanding, just the type of lead that you're getting. So typically for me, I'll probably run through 50 to 100 leads before I start figuring out their pattern. That's the one thing that I think I'm pretty good at, is figuring out people's pattern or the lead quality, and then just figuring out shortcuts to try and get in front of them. Whether if it's video or the way that I say things, just that's kind of what I would say.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, Jose, you have Zillow Listing Showcase in your tool belt as well. How has that impacted your sellers and listing visibility?
Well, I mean, as far as sellers go, you just get more bang for your buck, right? Like you're able to expose the property to more people. So what I tell people is like you got to do every single thing, right? It's not that one thing, especially in this market, right, where properties are on the market a little longer. So for us, we have we always want to make sure that we have great photos, a 3D tour, a floor plan. If we can boost the property on the Amazon of real estate, we want to do that, right? just a better landing page. All of those things really kind of help. But we piggyback off of that with social media ads. So not only do we do what Listing Showcase does, but we also try to bring in, additional weaponry to try to get as many people in that open house as possible, and then pricing the property strategically, right? And making sure that you have a great advertising price. I always kind of tell people you always have a range in price, right? Like it's never a set number. And so I like to tell my clients you kind of want to start a little bit on the bottom end of that, depending on what your property looks like and what condition it's in and what your competition is, because essentially everyone that's listed around you is your competition. So it's like, how do we edge them out? How do we present better? How do we get more eyeballs on you? And really that's what our marketing strategy is all about. It's like, how do we get more eyeballs so we can have more people come through the door, so we can have more offers, and that way I can actually negotiate for you, not against you. Like a lot of us always say, hey, I pride myself in negotiating, and if you're getting your client to go down, then that's not necessarily a good thing. So I always tell people is like, look, if you allow me to kind of utilize this strategy, I definitely can deliver results. Or one of the other ways that I like to say it is, I can't use your strategy and for you to expect my results, right? So I kind of gotta do my thing. And so that's kind of because you always get people that want to price it the way they want to price it, and I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, if we price it like that, I'm not gonna have multiple offers, and I can't really get you the number that you're looking for.
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's move over to the personal side a little bit. So I know you mentioned that you're a big golfer, right? How do you have time to do that with a newborn at home there, Jose?
Oh man, I haven't had time to do that in a minute, man. I miss it. I'm probably like 2 3 months in without playing, but I'm super happy with my daughter and my wife, and just kind of going through this experience. I also I work quite a bit, so I just I gotta sacrifice whatever time I get to be with my daughter. She's super smart. She knows her ABCs already. She's only a year and 6 months, so she's
Awesome.
going through it kind of quickly, and
Oh, yeah,
I'm
it
super
happens
proud of it.
fast.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
crazy. I
yeah.
didn't realize she was that old already. I remember when I think we were in probably the showing time meeting, and you were having the baby like right around that same time frame. So it's crazy
Yeah.
how fast that flies. But that's cool. Did you play a lot growing up, or was that like a newer thing to kind of have a little bit of an escape from the real estate madness of the world?
No, man, I picked it up a year and a half ago. So
Oh,
like I couldn't play basketball or soccer anymore because I'm old, and so I'm going to break something. So I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna play an easier sport. It's what I thought. At least less cardio,
yeah.
especially if I'm on the golf cart. But like it's very difficult. I pick up sports pretty quickly, but I've only been playing it for a year and a half. Um, I'm meeting some of my friends that have been playing it longer, but yeah, I'm not nowhere near what a proficient golfer would be. I'm kind of hit and miss here and there. So, something that we'll keep working towards.
Love it. Love it. Cool. So what's
So,
go ahead, John.
no, I was just going to say, Jose, you've been at this for a while, over 20 years. Sold a lot of real estate, growing team. What's the next level for you? Is it more agents? Is it more margin? Is it something completely different?
I mean, there's a lot of different things that I'm kind of working on, and I'm always kind of, there's different ways to kind of go about this, right? And so we're really trying to focus on helping agents, you know, produce, right? Especially in this kind of time, right? Just trying to keep them focused and being able to feed their families, and just giving everybody that an opportunity that wants to get after it. I always tell people, it's like, our doors are open to anybody that wants to get after it. And so that's like one thing, but I have a few passion projects that I'm kind of working on. And then one of them is called vendetucasa.com, which is a seller lead program, that, I found there was a need for, Hispanic community or Latino community to get the service they deserve. And I was feeling like a lot of people were being underserved. And so we created this platform to kind of be able to help them and also help agents. There aren't any leads in Spanish. And so we're really good at generating leads. Why don't we just kind of attack this and see how we can service both the client who deserves a better service and the agent who, maybe might assimilate with that lead a little bit better. And so that's kind of one thing. And then the other thing we've been kind of working on is on like green home ownership. So again, I come from a lending background. So there's a loan program that's called the Energy Efficient Mortgage. and it's pretty much national program for both FHA and conventional loans. And you automatically qualify for that program as long as you qualify for an FHA or a conventional loan, and it doesn't hit your DTI. So, just trying to promote that and see how we can save people money, because a lot of the homes here in California are a little bit outdated. They were built in the 60s and 70s, and so the
young.
AC, yeah, yeah, the AC is not working right. Asbestos and all of these things. So green energy is also healthier energy. They're using products that are much healthier for you, and so a 203K became a little bit cumbersome for people. But with a energy efficient mortgage, we were able to upgrade, ACs, water heater, electrical panels, roofing, and so it's some major ticket items, but it's not a full on rehab that you would have on a 203K.
Those are some amazing initiatives. So it's going to be really rewarding to be going down that path. That's cool.
I'm definitely trying, man. I'm definitely kind of want to get it out there and get people to understand it and to take advantage of it, because you could basically include all of your energy efficient upgrades in your mortgage, which becomes a mortgage deduction, and you're not getting it at the higher 7-10% rates that normally you would get a green program through. And it's amortized over 30 years, where energy efficient programs are usually like 10 or 15-year loans. So it just gives you a more economical payment built in. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Last question before we close with some lightning round questions. So, Jose, what is one truth that you wish more team leaders knew about this business, or aspiring team leaders knew about this business?
To give. The people would always ask me, like, how did you guys grow? How did you guys grow so fast? And it was just like, hey, dude, I just gave. I poured my time and soul into these people, and I gave away all my leads, because I knew that was the only way for me to be able to leverage myself. So, I kind of started being a buyer's agent. All of a sudden, I had 2, 3, 4 deals, and then I started moving into the listing game, and I started focusing 100% on listings. And any buyer below 500,000, I would partner up with one of my agents, and then eventually I had too many listings, so I had to hire more people, and their job was just to be at the open house and work my buyer clients until eventually I moved up in price point. So now I was only doing listings above 750. I gave my listings below 750 to one of my other guys that was a little bit more experienced, and then he was doing that, and then so that's kind of how I grew and how I leveled up my price point. Yeah, eventually I ended up having 10 people and, just crushing transactions. So my whole focus was always, how do I get you to open an escrow as quickly as possible? And I found that that's key for anybody to stay on your team, because they only have a finite amount of time. So my goal was, if I brought you on, I was working with you solely for the next 30 to 60 days. And every single appointment I got, I mean, that's when I was smaller,
Sure.
And then so every single appointment that I got, you and I were going together. You were going to manage my pipeline. I was going to see you kind of do it. And that's the only real way you learn, right? Like, there's no other way to learn in this business. It's just you have to do it, fail, get up, do it, fail, get a mentor, all of that kind of stuff.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Such good advice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's close with some lightning round questions, quick hitting answers. What's the one book every real estate team leader should read?
Ooh, what is it? This is one. This one's Jeff's. Four disciplines of execution. He's told me twice today to read that. So I would say that. For me, a book I really liked is called by Jeb Blunt. It's called Inked. Or another one I really like is Virtual Selling.
Cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
What is the most underrated skill in real estate?
Ooh. Showing up. I always tell people, like, I've been doing this for 20 some years and I'm still here at like 8 o'clock, 7:30 in the morning. So, there's really no trick to it. It's just about
Yeah.
dedicating the time. And the beautiful part about real estate is that it follows the golden rule, right? Which it treats you like how you want to be treated, right? Something along those lines. And
Yep.
so if you treat it like a part-time job, it'll treat you like one. If you treat it like a career, it'll treat you like one. And if you treat it like $1 million business, then it will treat you as such. So, it depends on how much time and effort you want to put towards it, towards your skill, towards your, just learning how to do these things that are going to take you to the next level, and spending the time. I mean, there's no gimmick.
The skill is so key there too. What you said, and so much for lightning round. But the skill is so important because I mean, so many people come in, they just expect the phone to ring, they expect it to come to them. But you got to work on those skills and how to have better conversations, talk to more people, and talk to more people better. So hard work works, and working on those skills is such a key point that they need to work on. So I love that. What is one question, Jose, you wish clients would ask you more often?
One question, clients, where do I send the check? No, I mean, honestly,
what should they
question
care
that
about more?
the client should care about
The
more.
consumer. What should the consumer be more concerned about that they're not?
I think one thing, it's just doing their due diligence with the person that they're going to be working with. Um, you know, making sure that the person you're working with either has a team behind them or some sort of infrastructure to be able to kind of make sure that you're getting down the finish line in the right way. Reviews really kind of matter to me. Even when I didn't have too many sales, I still had reviews because I focused on the reviews. So I was just focused on giving exceptional service, whether I got the deal or not. And eventually it just started coming to me. Eventually people just started resonating with it. And hey, you know what? I remember that you helped me and you don't even do rentals and you still kind of went out of your way to help me out. I have a friend of mine that's trying to buy like whatever, right? That's kind of what I would say, what else I mean, that's kind of what I would say. I
It's a
mean,
good
it's
one.
just, doing your due diligence with whoever you're going to be working with. And at the end of the day, somebody you like and trust and that's transparent, that's professional, and that's really kind of what you're looking for.
Great one. What's your real estate pet peeve?
My real estate pet peeve. People thinking that real estate is basically a job that is really how could you say this? You're gonna have a lot of time on your hands. Like you're gonna be able to control your time, especially in the beginning. I always tell people you gotta earn that. You gotta earn flexibility in real estate. It's not something that's given to you, and you gotta put in the hard work, the time, the effort, clients. I mean, for you to get people to call you back 10 years or 5 years from when you transacted with them, I mean that takes time. It's not something that's just gonna be overnight. So, I guess you could say it's like watching these reality TV shows and thinking that that's really reality and I mean, it's great for entertainment. I love them. My wife watches them, but I tell people it's like, the day-to-day grind on this. It sometimes could get a little bit overwhelming, but you just got to take it one step at a time.
For sure.
So let's end with something powerful, or maybe it's just super simple. But what is the best advice that you've received in your career?
Oh, recently somebody told me the fastest way to get anywhere is slowly. And a lot of times we're trying to compare ourselves to the Joneses and I'm trying to do this and I'm trying to do that and I'm trying to catch up to this person. But everyone is fighting a battle. Everyone's trying to get ahead. Everyone's trying to do something. And I just stick to your guns and take care of every single agent, even if you're going a little slow. But over time, I think you'll inch out everyone. It's we also like to say if you want to go fast, go alone, but if you want to go far, go together. And so I think nowadays team is everything. And so I know that there's a lot of solo agents out there, and kudos to you for being able to do it on your own. But I feel like as we progress in the next few years, it's going to be more and more team oriented because it's going to be hard to stay in front of clients.
I couldn't agree more.
Yep.
Yeah. And
All right.
the personal touch is going to be important. Doing
Oh, for sure.
barbecues, doing like no sort of like gimmicky like, hey, I have a buyer like a first time home buyer program like seminar or something like that. It's more about like, hey, look, dude, we're gonna have a barbecue. Come and eat some burgers and some hot dogs, whatever. And
Let's
then the
connect.
networking happens by itself. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't really have to be. I mean, what else are you gonna talk about?
Yeah. It's
Like
always
I
going
want
to
to
come
do
up,
this.
that's for sure.
I
Yeah.
tell people, don't talk to me, dude, because I'm just gonna talk to you about real estate. That's the only language I speak.
Yeah. All right, last question. Could be the toughest question of the day for you. Would you rather sink a 30-foot birdie putt to win the match or post a hot deals video that gets 50,000 views overnight?
Oh yeah, hot deals video. And I'm not gonna be a professional golfer, so yeah, I wish I could do that. I mean, that would be awesome, but I have a lot of other things that we want to do. We just need to create the foundation and the team to be able to kind of handle a lot of the other things that we're doing. But, my goal is to eventually, kind of be out there a little bit more and just showcase whatever we do here at the office and how much we, will help out agents and doing seminars and things like that. That's always my passion, man, helping people.
Jose, you've been an absolute amazing guest. Thank you so much for coming on to our podcast here today. Super excited that you did. You've been an amazing, amazing guest. So where can people find you? If they want to follow more Jose and the Power Real Estate Group, where should they look for you?
Yeah, so you can look me up on Instagram, Jose Roberto Samano, the @ right? Or the Power Real Estate Group team as well on Instagram. And you can also find us on YouTube. And we have some pretty cool, amazing agents that, are super social media stars. And they're always out and about and doing crazy things. And I'm just kind of really proud of our team and their personality, because it really kind of shows that they could be themselves and you can make it in this industry being yourself.
You should be proud, man. I know every time I talk to you, I get inspired. So thank you once again. And I can't wait to see you again in person. So
yeah, me.
Thanks so much, Jose.
Bye.
See you, Jose.
We're back. JT, what was your takeaway on that killer interview with Jose?
Jose, that was fire. So coming in, as I mentioned, the man's dialed. We've known this. We actually have partnered with his VA company, Sidekick. So he's obviously dialed operationally and tech-wise. But one of the things that really struck me was when he mentioned singles, and he had a baseball reference. And so many agents, we do a lot with online leads, Zillow Flex, and so many agents out there, our team everywhere, they're often looking for that home run. The call that comes in. Yeah, the unicorn is exactly what it is. That call that comes in and says, I want to make an offer on this $1 million house today. Can you help me? It's like, huh? If you get that call, first make sure it's not a scam.
Yes. Some prince in Nigeria or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to pay cash for that $14 million waterfront property. Join me on WhatsApp. But what it's really all about is the singles. Play ball, small ball. Follow up with these people. Nurture them, go for the singles. And if you focus and you're consistent in time, it will pay off big time.
And that's how you take a closing ratio on these online leads from 2 to 5 to 10% is by quality follow-up, giving value, following up these people not over the course of 1 or 2 days to get that initial appointment from your ALM script. It's going through and talking to these people for months until they're ready to buy. And you are absolutely top of mind to help them through that process, provide that value, and walk them through what will be one of the biggest transactions of their life. So I couldn't agree more. I love that baseball analogy. I got to keep punching out the singles, baby.
That's it.
Love it.
Small ball.
All right, you want to jump into some hypotheticals as we do here on Shootin The SHT?
Yeah, let's do it.
So I ran these about 10 minutes ago. I just did some Rhode Island-themed hypotheticals since we're going into 4th of July weekend, which I think is kind of the unofficial kickoff of summer. Officially summer. I mean, Memorial Day weekend certainly feels like it, but we are in summer now.
This was
especially
this year. It was a rainy start. Every Saturday
every
rain.
Saturday.
I feel like last week or so, summer's really getting rolling.
I'm ready for that humidity, the 95 degrees, the burning sand. I want to get scalded. That's what I want. So I am ready for that. So let's.
What is wrong with you?
I'm the same way.
Let's do it, Nate. All right. So first question: would you rather give up eating clam cakes or drinking Dells forever? Can never have one again.
I'll go first. This is pretty easy for me.
Is it?
I could give up Dells.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh.
What if you had Tito's?
Come on now.
I mean, it's.
I could do mudslides instead, but clams.
Straight to mudslides.
So thick in comparison to lemonade and vodka.
I've been loving the Monroe Dairy lemonade with some Evan Williams, a little lemonade and whiskey.
There you go.
Yeah,
it's a good move.
Yeah, try it out.
So Dells is gone for you. Axed.
I like Dells. I'm not just going to voluntarily axe it, but if you're asking me to choose from clams or Dells, I can get rid of Dells.
You're a big clam cake guy?
Yeah.
How many clam cakes do you eat a summer?
I don't know. I probably get clam cakes. I don't know, half a dozen times.
Okay.
But I don't just eat clam cakes. Like, I can just sit there and eat a bucket of clams.
Okay. Fried clams?
Yeah.
Is it fried? Is that what your go-to is fried clams?
Sometimes I like them raw too.
Okay. Linguine and clams?
I don't do that too often.
Okay. I love linguine and clams.
Yeah?
Good stuff. Yeah,
Little
absolutely.
necks.
Oh, yeah.
How about little necks?
Oh, yeah. Love little necks.
Yeah.
I had fried clams like 2 weeks ago. But I could just sit there and eat a bucket.
All right, Nate. Clam cakes or Dell's lemonade?
Well,
what
this
are you,
is
what are you giving
also
up?
easy for me because clam cakes are just bread with a little bit of clam in there.
I'm gonna push back
Going
on
to the
that
wrong-
one. It depends on where you get the clam
You're going to
cake
the wrong
from.
place. If you go to McDonald's, you're going to get breaded clam cakes.
Okay, well, first off, McDonald's doesn't have clam cakes. I've gotten
McRib over
clam
there.
cakes. I've had them made. I've been to restaurants where people are like, you got to try these clam cakes. They're the best clam cakes. And it's always like, I like clam cakes. Do I like them as much as Dell's? No. There's nothing like a refreshing Dell's in the middle of the summer on a 95-degree day, like you said, when it's scalding hot.
I agree with you, Nate. I'm sticking with Dell's too, and I love clam cake, especially when you get a really good clam cake filled with clams, kind of a little bit on the overdone side, nice and crispy on the exterior with a soft filling on the inside with tons of clams.
Do you dip them in the
and
chowder?
That's where I was going next, and you dip them into the
Cheddar.
chowder.
No, I've never done
with
that.
some
Oh,
Tabasco sauce.
chowder.
Chowder.
I thought you said cheddar. I'm like, you guys are doing clam cake fondue? By the way, clam cake is your new nickname, JT. Just FYI.
Ooh,
And why is that?
Johnny Clam Cakes?
Because you're fucking stuffed.
that was a little weird.
Did you just call me fat right here on the pod? Jesus.
No, you're muscular.
I am
Also-
gonna. He's wide. He's
I have to
wide.
push back on something else he said. There's nothing better than a Dell's on a hot summer day. Try a little Arnold Palmer Sun Cruiser.
Oh my God, you're such a.
I'm hooked on those.
Oh, for fun. It was a figure of speech. I don't mean there's literally nothing better. If I had to choose a mixed drink though, I would do Arnold Palmer and honey whiskey. That's what I used to do all the time. That was our special drink at our wedding.
Meanwhile, we're talking
like
about
it.
Rhode Island staples, and John goes, "But a Sun Cruiser." Is
Yeah, right. Like, come on, man.
Just saying.
All right, next question. Would you rather have every beach trip ruined by seaweed or every bonfire attacked by mosquitoes?
Can I use bug spray?
No.
Cigar?
Sure.
Mosquitoes. I feel like that happens anyways. Put a little bug spray on your feet, smoke a cigar. They go away.
I prefer bonfire. I'm not gonna try and argue semantics here. I prefer to be in the woods. I was gonna say like a bonfire or like a campfire. Like those are two different things, you know.
Bonfire on the beach. We're in
Bonfire.
4th of July mode. Bonfire on the beach at night
Yeah.
with tons of mosquitoes because there's no breeze. It's just, nasty.
Right.
Or is it the beach trip with the red tide?
Well, if it's bonfires on the beach, it's like I'd rather be able to go in the water without there being seaweed every time. Although, living in Rhode Island, there's usually seaweed in the water. It's often red tide here, but like, is that everywhere? That's like if I go to Florida, there's gonna be
Everywhere.
Oh yeah, no, I'd take the
The lack of seaweed.
the lack of seaweed.
I'm with
for
you
sure.
there too.
Yeah.
I like swimming in the ocean much more than being at a bonfire. I'm a little past my bonfire days.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm old, 40 now. So.
Right.
All right. Would you rather? I can't wait to hear John's answer on this one. Would you rather go to the beach without a chair or without sunscreen?
Do you see the color of my skin?
Mm.
I can do without
Now
a chair.
let's create the setting. It's 4th of July.
Okay.
Your wife made plans. You're meeting a bunch of people at the beach.
Okay.
You're going for like 6 to 8 hours. You're going for like a beach day. All right. And it's 90 plus. It's humid. It's hot. No chair or no sunscreen.
Actually, I might actually change my answer on this.
Wow.
I think I might have to go no sunscreen because, so you see, I know you're looking at the color of my skin, but I'd have no problem sitting under an umbrella in a beach chair under an umbrella and just not
there's
getting
no
the
chair.
sun.
Without a chair. Okay.
No, but if I give up the sunscreen,
Okay.
I'll park my chair under an
I
umbrella
didn't say umbrella. No umbrellas.
No umbrellas.
You have a chair or sunscreen.
and I'm just cooking in the sun if I have no sunscreen.
Yeah.
I'll give up the chair.
So you're gonna sit your ass on the hot sand and just.
Well, I could have a blanket or a towel.
No, you got nothing. It's sand.
No, that's not what you
All
said.
right, fine.
No,
So
you
you
said-
got- you have
Fine,
blanket.
give me the sand. I'll go dunk in the water and I'll come cool the sand off with my wet bathing
All
suit.
right, so you're going without a chair.
Look at my skin.
I
I
know.
can't go
Casper,
without sunscreen.
I got you. Nate,
Well, I want to know your answer first.
my answer is very easy. I will go no sunscreen, take my chair, and I'll be in that water 90% of the time.
See, this is how I know you guys are soft.
And
What?
you would be the You would be the color of this can.
No, I'm much darker than you are. I mean, I'm
8 hours on the beach.
no problem. I'll be in the water nonstop, like body surfing with Lily. I'll be hanging out. I'll be that dad. And
Oh,
I'll
you're
just
right. I forgot the sun doesn't get you if you're in the water.
not as bad.
Actually, it reflects the water.
Yeah.
Actually, if you're wet, it burns you even worse.
Yeah.
I don't think if I went down there and I was in the water almost all day, would
Try
I be
it.
anywhere near as burned as baking like a teenage girl with.
You want to bet? Go to the beach for 8 hours one day this weekend
Let's
with
do it.
no sunscreen. Let's see how dark you get.
Oh my god, I can't wait to see what that materializes in the way you guys look when you come back.
I mean, I
Not
went to the
you
beach my
guys.
whole childhood, but with no sunscreen practically.
So this is what I'm saying. So before I said this is how I know you guys are soft because for me it's not even a question.
Yeah.
I never bring a chair to the beach.
Really?
Every time my wife and I go, we bring a towel and sunscreen and snacks
Yeah.
and a little radio stereo.
Okay.
Dropping
That's
Maybe
it.
it's an
F-bombs
old
on
thing.
the
'Cause I
family pod
gotta
today.
say, I do enjoy having a chair at the beach and just
It's
kick back,
nice, but it's not like a necessity
crack
for me.
a sun cruiser like
Right.
John likes.
Yeah.
When
to
I
do.
was younger, when I was younger, I would never
Yeah.
sit in a chair at the beach. But now it's all about like just chilling in the chair.
Yeah. We've been going down to Bonnet on Sunday nights, actually. Me and some friends down there. We're
Yeah.
having a little cookout on the beach on
Nice.
Sunday nights.
That's nice.
It's nice, yeah. But the
Precious.
chair is huge. The chair's
Yeah.
critical.
Yeah.
Actually, we got halfway down there this past Sunday evening. And I go, Angie, you got the chairs in the trunk, right? And she goes, no, I can't do everything. You know. So we had to turn around.
It's a pretty good impersonation.
It wasn't
Get
that
this
PG, I can assure you.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But this plays into our next question. Well, I'm excited for this
What do
one.
we got?
Would you rather eat doughboys with sand in them or drink warm Narragansett beer?
How much sand? Is it just like a little dusting of sand, or are they like caked in sand?
Like you dropped it in the sand.
I'm gonna blow the sand off the doughboy and eat it.
Ugh.
A
I'll drink-
warm Narragansett is just gross.
I'll drink the warm beer.
Yeah, I'll take the warm beer.
Really?
Yeah, I don't like when I bite into something there's sand in it.
I don't
It's
either.
The
But
worst.
I mean, a warm Narragansett, I can feel myself hurling already. Just the
Yeah.
thought of it. Just, ugh.
I'll take this. The
I mean,
beer.
I can't say I've never drank a warm beer before. It's been many years.
I was
but-
gonna say, like, come on, we've all been there, right?
All right. Would you rather be stuck in beach traffic on the 4th of July, headed down to the beach, or stuck on the Block Island Ferry chaos of the 4th of July?
Sunday beach traffic. Oh, wait, what's worse?
What would you rather be in?
I would rather be in the Sunday beach traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm a big Block Island guy. I love Block Island, but I think I got to agree with you here. Going on the ferry on the 4th of July
Ugh.
is like gross.
Yeah.
Can't find a
Yeah.
seat. It's like packed in like sardines. It's just terrible.
Yeah,
And
that sounds awful.
you got to go the day before, or something like that. And stay overnight.
I've
Do
only
it
ever
right.
been to Block Island one time.
We should have a field trip.
Yeah, and it was like kind of a rainy-ish day at the end of the summer, so there wasn't a ton of people. But I could imagine that ferry being a nightmare if there's
It
a bunch of
is.
people there. So I would definitely take the beach traffic as well.
Okay. Last one.
Unanimous.
Would you rather only air conditioning? Well, how does this read? It's not reading right.
Your only air conditioning can be the ocean
okay.
breeze, or you have AC, but you can never go to the beach.
This is a tough one.
You have wait. I'm sorry. You have
So-
a sea, but you could never go to the beach.
You don't
Okay.
have AC, but you have the ocean breeze.
Okay.
Or you have AC, but you can never go to the beach.
Oh, my wife and I would have very different answers to this.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to be all over the ocean breeze, whereas I don't do well in the heat. I can pass on the beach. The beach actually makes me kind of cranky at times.
I can see
A lot
why,
of the
you know.
time.
A lot of things make you crazy, buddy.
So I can sit on the beach and relax in the chair and have a sun cruiser or
Yeah.
2 or 12, but packing everything, we had this debate a few weeks ago because we had some friends in town. We were going to the beach and we were still packing the car. And I walked upstairs and I was like, this is why I don't go to the effing beach. And we hadn't even hit the beach traffic. We drove down to Narragansett. All the lots all of a sudden are for residents only. So we dropped the girls and the kids off.
What beach did you go to?
Narragansett.
Okay.
Dropped the girls and the kids off and drove around for 45 minutes and finally said, screw it. And Jesse and I, the other guy that we were with, went to just posted up at a clam shack and got fried clams and some drinks. And when the girls were done, they called us and we picked them up.
Wow. Sounds
Um,
terrible.
It sounds terrible.
Wait, you couldn't find a parking spot?
Nope. All
Oh,
the lots at
that's-
Narragansett are now Narragansett resident only.
Oh.
And the guy was just saying, go find a spot on the side of the road. But since the rest of Rhode Island was trying to find a spot on the side of the road, you
Yeah.
basically, we watched it happen a few times on the opposite side. You had to be lucky enough to be creeping down the road and have a car pull out in front of you from a spot and you'd be able to pull right in.
First mistake was going to Narragansett Beach.
All right. Well, anyways.
You know what you can do is you can kayak over there. That's
from Narrow River.
Yeah. That's a good spot. Right to the beach there.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
Well,
probably
anyways.
not applicable for you, but for a man living a life of adventure such as myself, it's very easy.
So I'll take the air conditioning. I need to stay cool, and I can do that and have a pool.
What's the closest beach to your house in Lincoln? Is it Lake Winnipesaukee? How do you say that? Winnipesaukee?
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 Like in What About Bob?
Is that New Hampshire?
Yeah.
Okay.
You think that's the closest
definitely-
beach to my house in Lincoln?
Because we're so far up, John. You get it?
It's out of his mind.
We're not in Lincoln.
All right,
New
what are you
Hampshire.
guys taking?
Woods. Do you go to
whoa.
Lincoln Woods to go swimming? Is that where you go? You go down to the pond over there?
Absolutely not.
Why?
You got to
No
answer.
shot.
You got to answer his question so he knows.
No, the closest beach to me is not Winnipesaukee.
Okay, now we can
Lincoln
move on.
Woods is there. I would
Woods, okay.
never go in that water.
Why
I would
not?
like kayak or boat out there, sure.
yeah.
I've
Go
been
for
in
a
there
run
one
around
time. I've
there.
been in that beach one time when I was
But
like,
yeah, you do not go in that water.
No.
I will go to Narragansett.
There's
with
people
third
there
eye?
every day.
Is there swimming?
So I go running over there, and there was one time I ran a lot, like more than most people run. And
He's
I
so
was
humble, isn't he?
I was
That's the
more
word I
than
was
they
thinking.
it was like more than most people run in their life. I did in a day, and
You're
so I
done.
never did it again.
I'll go to Narragansett.
Yeah. I'll take the. By the way,
You're a big Narragansett guy, huh? There's other beaches in the
Narragansett
state.
is nice.
I wanted to go to
It's a
that
nice
one in
beach.
Jamestown.
I
that
feel like
you-
I'm way too old to go to Narragansett Beach.
Why?
Because it's usually the high school kids.
Where do you go?
I go to many different beaches.
I tried to go to that one in Jamestown. You had pointed out to me.
Mackerel
but
Cove? It's a
yeah,
nice
but
little
it's
concept.
residents
I go to
only
many
after
different
a certain-
beaches. All the beaches. I go to all of the beaches.
I actually
great.
So
All
my
of
wife
the
bought
best
passes
beaches.
to Bonnet this year, so we're going to Bonnet most of the time now. But the best beaches around bar none are on Block Island. So period, end of statement. That's where the best beaches are. Mansion Beach, Scotch Beach. Go down to the Mohegan Bluffs and go down the stairs and enjoy those down to like Black Rock and whatnot.
Yeah.
So what are your answers, guys?
My answer is I love air conditioning, but I love the beach more. So give me that
Wow.
fresh ocean breeze. Give me a coastal home by the water. I am taking that
what
all
I
day long.
expected.
All day long.
I mean, people live without AC for most of human existence.
here we go.
So, you know, I could take.
Why do you live here? You should move to Canada.
Yeah, for real. You should try it and let me know if it's good. But yeah, I like going in the water. The water's nice, you know. So I would definitely just nix the AC.
2-1 on that one.
All right. Well, that concludes our 4th of July weekend theme hypothetical round.
John's got to get out of here.
Yeah, I have a hard stop in 3 minutes.
3 minutes. All right, let's hear it. Let's rate the podcast. Starting with Nate Dogg.
6.5.
6.5?
What?
Yeah.
That's rough.
I wasn't really feeling myself today.
You didn't talk a lot. You were kind of quiet.
I'm just not really feeling it.
Do you have something you want to talk about? Or?
No, nothing bad happened. I just sometimes I need to get into my groove a little bit, and I didn't really have a chance to get in my groove at all.
We were a little rushed today.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
So
a lot going on this
6.5.
week. We're handing out 2,000 flags. We got this podcast. We got work. We got a ton of listings coming on. So we're busy. We got a lot going on.
A couple things happening.
2,000. That's crazy.
But you know what? I'm not going to let it bring me down. I'm going to say 8-2.
Ooh,
I'm going to
that's
say
nice.
Jose was a great guest. I was glad to have him on. I thought we had some decent banter, even though John was in a bad attitude space. He was in a bad headspace to start the podcast.
What?
So I'm going to go 8-7 in honor of Travis Kelce, John's favorite tight end.
Mopes McGee over there.
John, I was coming to your defense.
Jesus. Nate, take us out of here.
All right, y'all. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts, and share with all your friends, family, and neighbors. Thank you.
My fault.
We are out.
Enjoy the weekend. Be safe.
That's a wrap on today's episode of Shootin the SHT. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. And if you enjoyed this content, please share it with others and leave us a rating and a review. Buying, selling, or want to connect with Nick and JT? Visit Slocum Home Team on Facebook and Instagram or slocumhometeam.com. We'll see you next time.